Welcome back in, everybody. We are spectating the top #1 team here in Pokemon Unite in a ranked match right there. You can see all of them. Of course, the Season 2 meta is now in here, so let's hope that they're still going to be that top team, right? Well, I have somebody joining here with me to help me commentate this. Should be a good matchup, and so I am joined by Kanashii, dude. We've casted together on a Victory Road Unite tournament somewhat recently, but let the people know you're here.
Yeah, I'm Kanashii. I do Pokemon Unite commentary as well. Kendo and I have casted once before, but this is our first time together casting a TTV game, so this is going to be really interesting to see how they roll out again.
Yeah, and the thing, I definitely encourage everybody to follow you on Twitter and Twitch, and we'll make sure to have those links in the description and everything like that, the top pinned comment. As he said, this is our first time watching TTV, because when we did that Unite Clash tournament, they were absent. They were not actually in that tourney, which is interesting to me, personally. Would have thought they'd be there.
Yeah, sometimes they just prioritize different things, but this is still pretty standard. It's really interesting that we only just got a glimpse of it, but IndieBear is not running the typical experience share edition. Usually he has that in order to boost everybody else's experience, and it just looks like they're just gonna try to bully their way through. Maybe they have something else planned to go forward in that.
Yeah, and as you said, it was standard from the start, and we saw that, of course. I think that's Toon up there. It's usually Toon and Goof, whom I call the wild card, so yeah, that's going to confirm. That's Toon for me up there playing as the Sylveon, and I call them wild cards just because they're not really the ones that will always pick. They have their favorites, but they won't always be the same one. Like Lutano, is going to be Lucario, right? And IndieBear is going to be that Eldegoss player. So, Zogrugus, Snorlax, for example. So yeah, we're running with our wild cards, although Goof has used Venusaur a lot, at least back in the days, too.
Yeah, it's just kind of whatever works for them at the moment, but... Oh, we see a little bit of a zoning coming out from the other team there, using Pollen Puff. Actually, that's coming from Indy. That's another really interesting pickup.
Yeah. So this is, like you were saying, we typically see IndieBear running the XP share as that Eldegoss, but also running Leaf Tornado. That's kind of what he usually is opting for. That's usually what I play, too, whenever I'm Eldegoss personally, but the other thing that was just kind of, wow, nice KO right there, because he was catching that Fletchinder off guard in this instance, and it was funny because we saw him hiding in the grass earlier, actually, Orange Fletchinder. And just to say about the Orange team, well, I haven't seen too many of these players regularly. One of them is Forte, and so that's the Zeraora player on the Orange. Very competent, he's very good at Zeraora, so let's see, is he going to pull that out today? And wow, another KO right here on the top lane.
Yeah, he's got that timing down pretty well, and meanwhile, Toon and Lutano are just having fun up here, just trying to break this as quickly as they can, so by the time that they rotate down to bottom, there's already enough pressure to top that they might not even want to contest the Rotom and just try to go down for bottom. But another thing that I really wanted to point out, besides the Pollen Puff happening, I think it was picked up just because it's not only healing, but also a lot of their players want to get in close. They want to fight either Goof in the backline or try to fight Zugrug and burst him down. So giving him that little burst around him in order to heal up everybody is also really helpful.
And this is where we're going to see that skirmish for Dreadnought, of course, the first Dreadnought on screen right now with that Rotom. This is exactly why I picked Kanashii, you guys, and look at this going down right now. So Team TV, this is what they know how to do. When those objectives are ready, they all play their part perfectly, I say. But again, this is why I really wanted to call on you to help me with this, is that you are, to me, a technical genius. Like, if we think about you are the Spock and I'm the Kirk, right? That's kind of how I think of it sometimes. But yeah, so thank you for that input on Pollen Puff, because that would have, been something I would have been still probably trying to figure out, as they just got the Dreadnought, of course.
Yeah, they grab Dreadnought and immediately head to top to go get Rotom. But another thing that I love about this whole play is because they know that they have the levels advantage, they want to pressure as much as they can. And there you go, they take down Forte at top. And not only did they just rotate a couple up there, they also kept the pressure up at bottom. So either you go and contest Rotom, you take Rotom, or we score on your bottom and you become even more vulnerable down there.
Yeah, and we can see that just when you purely look at the mini-map right now, like you can see them getting pushed. Like it almost looks like an actual, football match, like American football or like a Spartans War or something, because they are actually pushing everybody back, which is another interesting comparison. And look at that, the Aura Cannon is going to save Lutano just barely, man. That HP just scooting by right there, but very nice. So yes, Kanashi's exactly right. We can see that the score, the levels, and the goals all are to the Team TTV advantage, basically.
Yeah, they're going to be able to grab Goof. He tried to push with the Rotom a little bit too much. They just had numbers advantage there. So it's a good pickoff for the Orange team, but TTV is still very much in control in terms of map and also objectives. So I do think that they're going to start rotating around, try to find a couple more picks if they do want to take this fight down at bottom. They're going to have to probably find a pick before they really want to roll into it.
Yeah, and that's Team TTV is just, they are monsters, and so obviously we've already mentioned it with the Dreadnought the first time. They know how to play their roles, they know how to take those objectives, and so you're right, if you can just pick off at least one of them, that's going to give you that advantage. But look at this, maybe not enough right here, and Team TV still, they are going in. That's 2 KO streak of 2 right there. So looking pretty nice again if you are Team TTV, and there goes Venusaur on orange as well.
Yeah, and they're already applying even more pressure. They grab it and just run up to top, Rotom's about to spawn. So it's just so much map control, not really letting them get the advantages that they need, and it just snowballs into levels, and levels snowball into scoring. So
yeah,
really for them, it's just like, as long as I have control of majority of the map, more than 50% of the map, we're good.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I was going to try to see if we could get a conversation off, I mean, it's so hard sometimes because things can happen just like this. Look at Forte getting picked off almost effortlessly right now by Team TTV. But I was going to say, if we can take like 5 or 10 seconds, which, again, so much can happen in, but what do you think that the Season 2 now, there's going to be hopefully different meta with the patches as well, but just Season 2, this right now, Team TTV is not actually in the top 1, global, each of them, as we're sort of recording this now. I'm sure they're heading that direction, but is there anything that you think you could say, Kanashii, about where we're headed right now?
The thing that I would point out, because it's a brand new season, I feel like it's going to be really interesting to see newer teams kind of come up and start to contest TTV a little bit, because we know that they have had a couple games where they are getting challenged. I know that, I think it was Indy and Zug were both saying, like, it's good to see, like, us not completely run through every competition. Like, we are now actually getting a lot of pushback from a lot of really good teams. And if anything, that just makes the esports scene a lot more exciting. And with the new meta, there's going to be new Pokemon, we're getting hints at Decidueye, we know it's coming. We saw other Pokemon as well that might be coming up. So it's just a matter of teams figuring out how they want to play and how well they want to, face off against this kind of meta. We know that some teams might want to follow the meta, but it could totally switch up. Like if you wanted to run like a Wiggly or a Mr. Mime, as we've seen before,
right?
A lot of really interesting lineups can be made, and it just comes down to how well the team plays with it.
Yeah, I suppose if it was not obvious, I think we've already mentioned it, but just to kind of drill this point home is that this match, of course, we are watching sort of post. It's not like live right now. So this did come from October, and so obviously things have changed since then, as you've noted. But aside from that, this was very much kind of that old meta, although we do have a Slowbro there on the orange squad. Don't always see our good buddy Slowbro, right? But you're right. I think Mr. Mime climbing the ranks, you and I saw it a lot in that Victory Road tourney, to be honest. We did notice, of course, Team TTV earlier. They took that Dreadnought and obviously zoning out right now and preparing for that Zapdos. They don't need it. They just need to stop Orange from getting it, right?
Yeah, they understand that they have map and goal control here, so they really aren't risking it. If anything, they're just trying to zone them off. They could even, as we see sometimes, like players peeling them off, so they have less time to take it. Because at the end of the day, if you take Zapdos, it's cool and all, but if you can't score or capitalize on it, it's not really worth the effort.
Yeah. We do see a small push here, though, from Orange, and they are trying to get all of their squad mates involved in this. And notice Zugrug, this is something he's great at, is just going for those objectives at the last second with a heavy slam, so actually is going to take that Zapdos when it did seem that they perhaps could be outnumbered. Obviously getting those 3 KOs after that, too, and we're in those last few seconds now.
Yeah, it's just a matter of scoring, but they saw the Zapdos go down. They're gonna, call the GG, probably go next. So it's really down to coordination, and I love the way how, TTV always knows how they want to play it out. And if they get challenged, they get challenged. But for the most part, if you're coordinated enough to try to pick off a couple here and there, they just start snowballing even more. So I don't know if we need a new way of changing up the game in order to help out without the early game stuff, but I honestly like the way how, a coordinated team just looks like a well-oiled machine, and it just works.
Yes,
so
everybody in my comments usually says, I would kill for a team like this, that plays this way. The final score coming out to 243 to 156. Part of it is the surrender, but I think of this in terms of football, soccer. So football, depending on which country you're in, of course, but soccer, sometimes you see a match that's not like a high-scoring match, and that's what I would consider this match right here. 243 to 156 is not a dramatic defeat, but let's keep in mind, again, the Zapdos and the surrender, that was a factor, because they obviously surrendered before TTV would drop in those massive point values. But I like to think of it, at least if we're not having a huge score differential, that hopefully there was at least somewhat even gameplay. And so thanks for commentating a match like that. I'd be happy to have you back some other time too. Please, of course, though, tell the people, where can we find you? Just specific links and things.
So yeah, you can find me on Twitch at Kanashii GG. That is KANASHIIGG. And then Twitter is pretty much the same thing, but there is an underscore between the Kanashii and the GG because somebody else already has the other one. So
Man.
Yeah.
Somebody had Dr. Kendo as well. That's why it's DR_KENDO.
Yep.
But yes, I will have your links as well, as I said, in the description, top pinned comment. So thank you very much, Kanashii. Hope to see you again soon. And everybody out there, thank you so much for viewing.